fam? What's good? Match day. I got Nqoible, our tactician, our resident, our local expert here, talking about the 2-1 victory against Chelsea in the FA Cup final. We are champions, guys. We got a trophy. First off, Nqoible, how you feeling, man? How does it feel? What's the emotions like?
Hey, I'm so elated. I'm so relieved. Because the things that I was like a bunch of nerves.
Mm.
Like the whole day. You know, like when you're just nervous.
Yeah.
Almost as if like you were gonna go play that
Like
cup
you got
fight.
that
I was
exam,
nervous. Like I'm going to write my final exam, my final board exams. I was just a bag of nerves. Couldn't even eat properly. I think I even settled for like an early supper. I ate at like 4 o'clock, like straight after Formula One qualifiers. I was like, let me just get something down now while I still can stomach something. And then moved on. And I was like, no, I was just like, because I'm also quite superstitious. So I was like, because today is like my birthday. So I was like, now imagine these guys lose my birthday. I'm always going to remember this day as the day Arsenal lost the FA Cup final. So I was like very, very, I won't lie, I was very, very negative going into the game. Just personally, not that I felt like the guys were gonna, like, not that I had any reason to, just over and above just me personally, because even when I looked at the squad, I was like, hey, this is a good side that he had picked. I was actually like, I'm happy. I was like, I'm happy with the
Do you think
from
Baku
1 to 11. I was
was
like,
playing in the back of your mind there?
Baku was playing in the back of my mind, especially when that first goal went, and I was like, oh, here we go, because we had such a shaky start. We were so dodgy. It was a calamitous defending as well for that, because there were a couple of missed kicks in there, and obviously Tierney couldn't make that challenge on Pulisic because I think he was afraid that it probably would have been a penalty and a red card, because you saw him almost when Pulisic danced past him, you saw him almost try to put it again, and you saw him actually pull out of it. He was like, nah, I rather, if the keeper makes a save, he makes a save. If they score, at least it's still early on in the game. He made that was a good decision from him to just let the goal go in, and then from there let's recover. But yeah, I think after that, I think the boys really played. They settled down. They played well. Look, they were a bit nervy with some of the passing out from the back, especially on Rob Holding's side. On the right hand side, wasn't as fluid in terms of the passing out from the back as the left hand side was. And I think that was also because we always had options. We had options short, where they would play the ball to Tierney short, almost as in the left back position, or they'd go long to either Uber or Maitland-Niles, specifically in the beginning of in the first half specifically. Maitland-Niles was raiding them down that left hand side or their right hand side, and was getting a lot of joy and pinning James back quite a lot. And then obviously Aubameyang was having a field day against Cesar Azpilicueta. And to be quite honest, when Cesar came off, they looked much stronger defensively for me, Chelsea, that is. They looked much better aerially, and they were able to almost match Aubameyang stride for stride with those long balls. So they kind of nullified that long ball threat. But yeah, I think all in all, it was a fantastic performance. Look, we were aided by some dodgy refereeing, but for once, let us be on the right side of these dodgy decisions for once, and I'll take it and run.
Yeah.
Once.
Literally, we can count
for once.
How many
for
times?
once.
Yeah.
For once, man. And yeah, it was just one of those where I think it was just meant. It was written in the stars that Arteta wins this
I think the
one.
luck also favored us.
Everything that could everything that could have gone wrong for Chelsea, I think, went wrong. The injuries they had, the sending off, the cards, the dodgy decisions. Because I think the ref could have disallowed our second goal. I think the only decision we got, which was unfavorable for us, I think, was that if anything, maybe some refs could have turned around and said they would have sent off Cesar Azpilicueta in that instance, because he was actually the last. He was actually the last man at that time, and it was a clear goal scoring opportunity. It was only when Uber went down in the end that's when actually the covering player, then started coming around. But the fouling for me had had begun way before that, and he was clean through on goal at the time. Even though it carried on into the box, some refs could have seen that. Look, this guy was clean through on goal. And it was only through him holding onto the player that the recovering player was able to get into that position to begin with, you know. And so that, I think that maybe the ref could have shown Cesar Spilicueta a red card for that, but he didn't. And yeah, you can kind of make arguments to and from for that. But then besides that, I think we got the rub on the green on pretty much every major decision, from Martinez's dodgy handling of the ball, which apparently was checked by VAR and they couldn't find anything conclusive. I don't know about that. That looked like Martinez had handled that. They didn't, but the commentator says it's been checked and it's fine, which you don't know if to believe them or not, you know. I think sometimes these guys do make up some of these things. If I'm not seeing it on the screen written in purple that it's being checked, I'm not buying that these guys are checking this nonsense. To be quite honest, that could not look to have been checked for, man. And I think the commentators just passed the comment just to paper over the cracks there of just some dodgy officiating. And as I was saying, our winning goal, Bellerin could have easily been blown for a late tackle on that, on Christensen, but the ref decided, you know, let's play on. And I think also the red card, I think, was very, very soft. The second yellow, in fact, both yellows are quite soft. Look, I think the first one, I think Xhaka got lucky with that one because he could have easily stamped on the player. I think he got lucky that he missed the player and then the player caught him, because he could have actually gotten sent off if he had trod on, because he was trying to protect the ball and he went over the top. And so I mean, it was those very, very fine margins, and they went in our favor today.
But do you think it was also a bit of their kind of, okay, well, firstly, Nqoible, before we carry on, happy birthday, man. I hope it's been a good one. It has to have been a good day. It took a...
Yeah, it's a great one. Fantastic.
Did your Formula One person come number one, or are you a Hamilton?
No, guy? I'm not even talking about Ferrari. Okay. No, I'm a Ferrari fan, but obviously I admire Hamilton and what he's done for the sport. So Ferrari, I'm always happy. At least, you know, if Ferrari doesn't do well, I'm always happy. I don't mind Hamilton winning.
Okay. You know. Okay. No. So just thinking how your day is going.
Just for the but obviously, I was disappointed. But I know Ferrari are where they are. They're terrible. So that's what
firstly, I hope it's a good one, a good day. At least we got the win. But yeah, you for me as well, I was a bundle of nerves going into this game. Even like the first half was just emotional, man. It was just like a roller coaster of emotions. And the first goal went in, I was just so angry. I was like, why? Like, we didn't even like settle in or anything. And I think maybe to blame it on nerves, as you said, I thought that was kind of a cup final goal where you can't really plan for it. It's like they just touched the ball, moved it around, kept running. Pulisic was probably their standout player, and maybe we were fortunate that he got injured. But I felt after
very fortunate.
In the halfway of the half, that really changed the game. And from that set on, it didn't look like we were in the back foot. You know, especially going into penalty. You know, even at the end of the first half, we were like, let's give us 5 more minutes here. I think we can.
We'll score here. It
was nice to see that we didn't capitulate after the goal and continue, you know, just trying to push.
Yeah. And I think that's the quality of, and that's what I think that water break has really shown. It's really, I think for me, it's really, you've been able to see who the good managers are and the really average or below average managers are. And I think for me, Arteta, in all the games I've seen, we've always looked stronger post that water break. He's always able to seem to get the huddle, get the boys around him, have a chat, G them up, tell them this, I don't like what you're doing here, tweak things a bit, you know. And I've seen that from some of the managers where some of their teams have always, whenever they're on the ropes, maybe going into the water break, they always seem to come back stronger post the water break. Look, I think for the second water break, we were fortunate enough to score our goal just as we were about to go into that water break. But you could see that we were starting to I felt that at the time we were starting to win a few more tackles because they were dominating us just before that period. But then we looked like we were starting to get a bit of a feel for the game again. I mean, starting to win some of our attacks, starting to string 1 or 2 passes here and there. And then obviously that goal came. And I think post that, I think That's
And what
when
do you think of
Arteta
that
then
goal,
kind of
though?
changed his.
Aubameyang's goal.
Oh man, that goal was sublime, you know. And the thing is that you have to appreciate the goal. You have to kind of look back into the sequence of plays going into that, because Aubameyang had quite a few chances
Mm.
similar to the position he was in there.
Just
But
before that, with
in
that
all of those,
Lacazette.
he was cutting. He was cutting into his right foot, having a pop with his right, cutting into his right foot. So the guys were, you know, he had lulled them into that. Where even I think the commentators even said that, look, for the one before that chance, the chance that he scored, he said would have been easy. He should have actually taken it onto his left and gone there. But because he relies on his right foot so much, he's so comfortable on his right, he went onto his right hand side, and the Chelsea players were able to block it. But then what he saw then, he was like, okay, now next time let me feign him, and you know, feign him to the right, and then pull it to my left hand side. And then after that, it was just a delicate flick over the keeper. That's
That
probably
ball
one
is,
of the best goals. That's probably one of the best goals of the FA Cup finals. You know, it's one of the when they probably talk about some of the greatest FA Cup final goals. That's going to be right. I think it's right up there. That goal, and it was pure class, and probably he was probably the only player in our squad that could have come up with a moment like that. And yeah, he's won us. I mean, he's pulled through yet again in a big match, and he's been criticized for not being a big game player and hiding in big games, and not being standing up and being counted. But in the past two, in the FA Cup, in the past two matches, this Man City match and in this match, he's he's come up with with the minerals at the end of
yeah,
the day,
yeah.
and yeah, and it's paramount that I think we keep him in the club, but it's of utmost importance that I think he stays on, even if it is for another 2 seasons, and he try maybe to move him on after that. Yeah, then just so that we can build on this and make sure that he's able to also mentor some of these young guys coming through.
So we could say that we were fortunate with the red cards and maybe the penalty. The penalty was a penalty. You know, the red card was
Yeah,
a soft decision. The injuries to Aspilicueta and Pulisic.
yeah.
But to be fair,
We,
in terms of the quality that Chelsea has, you know, they had Bartley
uh,
come on.
Yeah, but
Like
they didn't create much. They didn't actually, if
you
you
know,
think about it, there was no situation or moments where we looked like they looked like, they were in on goal and Martinez had to pull off a great save. You know,
yeah,
I think in the first half, the only clear-cut chance they had was the one where Pulisic pulled his hamstring,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that was
yeah.
it, right? But besides that, you can't really think of Martinez having to really do anything
Exactly.
or
So that's what I was
looking
gonna say
threatened. You
was
know,
even
obviously,
though
obviously there were
Pulisic,
instances, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Obviously, there were instances where we looked shaky when Rob Holding was asked to go into those wide positions where he's not comfortable, like on the touchline and stuff like that. And that's where we were getting exposed. But the lads were able to, I think, track back and cover, and nullify those and make sure, and cover for him. So it was, I honestly think, even though Chelsea were unlucky to a certain extent, they also didn't. We deserved to win at the
yeah.
end. I think at the end of the day, we did enough. We still had to put the ball in the back of the net twice, to win the game, and we did that. We did our part in the match, and yeah,
Yeah, no,
kudos to us and
definitely.
the
And
boys.
that's what I was actually looking for when I was about to ask you was irrespective of how people can say it played out, at the end of the day we had to get the job done and you could see
Yeah,
that. And the next follow-up question was gonna be like, where did Arteta win it? What kind of tactic do you think he used well in order to seal this game? Because you could also look at the fact, okay, we had Maitland Niles, but we didn't have a
mm,
pressing wing back attack. Someone moved
yeah,
into an inverted role, supported the midfielder.
yeah,
At times, we didn't allow Holding because you could see if anybody put a ball through for Holding, it was tougher for him.
mm,
But he actually did well
yeah,
getting back and he bought himself some time, so I
yeah.
just want to know from where do you think that Arteta or the team actually tactically made the breakthrough and were able to get the
Yeah,
one up on Chelsea?
yeah. So I think once they realized that if you let Giroud trap the ball and lay it off to guys, you're in trouble. So I think once we started getting tighter to Giroud, which is what we weren't doing post, I think, the first water break. And I think that
Mm,
was one of the key instructions that came out of that. So for me, he won that. Once we were challenging Giroud for every single ball, and we turned it into a 50-50. Then we were able to break up some of the biggest attacking threat, because they rely a lot on him shielding the defender, bringing the ball down and playing in the quicker guys like Pulisic and Mason Mount. So once we got that right, I think we were able to nullify the goal threat. And I think also in instances where when we actually did press, when we did press, we looked dangerous in the press. We looked like we could nick the ball and get into dangerous areas when we were pressing high up the pitch. That is, I think that's when because we didn't start off by doing this. So when the game started, we weren't really pressing them high up the pitch, right? We were almost dropping back toward the halfway line, and only really having Lacazette as the token guy, right, rushing up there just to force them maybe to make the pass a bit slightly quicker or to play the ball longer. But it wasn't like a concerted effort of having the front five pushing up, as in having Uba, Laka, Pepe, and Ceballos or Xhaka really pressing on them. So, but once we started doing that, I think we were able to limit the players getting to the ball, because the things that once you let Jorginho or Kovacic get the ball beyond the halfway line, and turn and spread around, you are in trouble, because they can ping a pass. They're very quick. They're very mobile. They can pass. They can tackle as well. So they can shoot. So we were looking in trouble whenever that did happen. Whenever they were able to actually start running in, and when Giroud was able to lay the ball off to them and they were running onto it, we were looking in trouble. But I think we were able to pick that up quite early and nullify it. And then obviously, like in terms of the use of Maitland-Niles again was superb in terms of him picking up Reece James, because I rate Reece James. He's a quality player. He's very strong, good with both feet, versatile, and I think he is an attacking threat for them. But we were able. I think Ainsley was able to nullify him as an attacking threat, and he was basically like man marking him, following him around wherever he goes the whole match. Whenever he dropped into those midfield areas, he went there and picked him up. Whenever he was out wide, he went there and picked him up as well. And he played that free role, and then Tierney was almost able to then cover him wherever he went. So whenever he went more infield, Tierney would play as the left back. Whenever he was on the left hand side, Tierney would tuck in and play in as a left centre back at those times. So you could see the defensive work the guys were working on in training, and the shape that we kept, and the way we moved, the way we pressed. And I was very impressed with that. We looked like a well-drilled side. Yeah. And I mean, we haven't been able to say that about Arsenal in decades, And and especially given the limited talent we have from a defensive capability point of view, it was quite impressive. I mean, if you look at our defenders, they're not the greatest. Yeah. You'd probably take any of the top 10 teams, you pick any of the defenders ahead of any of the defense, you pick them ahead of our defense, but I think the guys, for me, it's testament to the work that Arteta and his training staff have done, that you've seen really in these actually in 3 very, very tough matches, very, very good defensive displays there, and by that I mean against Liverpool, Man City, and tonight against Chelsea.
Yeah, I know, it's surprising we can talk like this about them, man, our defense. And it shows that he's come a long way, and well, he's shown a lot of progress in the short time. But let's go on to a few players there. Who will you rate were your top 3 players of the game and maybe man of the match?
Ooh, it's tough, eh? It's a tough one, because I don't think anyone stood out like was immaculate. So I can't say that, because a lot of the guys put in a shift, right? So I can't say that. I don't want to single out certain players for a match like this, but obviously,
that's fine.
You have to. Aubameyang scored 2 goals, right? Yeah. So he did win the man of the match and stuff, and he was superb. I would say that for me, Pepe, I saw a lot of good things from Pepe today. He looked dangerous. He was turning them inside out. He was making the right decisions. He was winning fouls. And
Do you
yeah,
think he
he
found
was
his
making
peak?
runs. He was making runs beyond, which is what I hate about him that he doesn't do. So he was mixing it up. He was going long sometimes, sometimes coming short.
Do you think
Instead
he's
of
found his way moving across the box in a
yeah.
way?
So
Do you think
yeah,
that's better
that
for?
that's better for him. And also, I think when he looks longer, so that when he actually does make those diagonal runs and they play the ball in
Mm,
behind, that's when I think he's also at his most dangerous because he's able to mix it up. Because it's very easy for defenders to, if they know that you're always going short, for them to just be tight on you. And even if, let's say, they don't get the win the ball, they sticking their foot in and kicking you to pits. And you know, with these English refs, they'll let a lot of them go sometimes, even though it was a foul. They let it go, and then you lose turnover possession, and the guys are straight in at you in your own half. So I do want to see a lot more variation in his play, and today he delivered the goods. He got the assist, and I think he gave a very he was his defensive work also was very very good. I reckon
yeah,
obviously there's still a lot more I think he can do, but I think it was probably one of his best performances from a defensive point of view as well. So I think for me, he had a stellar match today. And then the third person, whew, who I think Lacazette's link-up play was also quite good. He worked very tirelessly. Obviously, he had a thankless task today because he was coming into the midfield a lot off the ball. So whenever we had the ball, he would drop deep to pull in some of their defenders, and then obviously Uber
big
then would go
thing.
long. And that's a lot of the work that you don't. It's the unglamorous work
Mm,
that he's been doing, the tireless work that he's been doing to make guys like Upamecano shine and give him the space to do what he
and
to do
also
what he
allows
did today.
Pepe to run
But I
across
think, yeah,
the box as well because he's not.
exactly. So it does allow him to do this. So the one thing I hope to see is that Arteta will identify that and and drill it into Pepe that he's got the pace. He mustn't be afraid to use his pace and
Mm,
get in behind the guys. Because I think that's the one weapon he has that he's not using at all. And if he learns how to use that, I think he could be a very, very dangerous player in this English Premier League.
definitely, definitely. So Arteta, first 7 months, he's really reinvigorated Arsenal. We
Yeah,
won out of the people that finished above us. We pretty much could have beaten anyone. The Wolves, uh, Sheffield, Tottenham, Leicester, Man United, and then Liverpool, Chelsea, and City. We kind of went, we could have beaten all of those teams. So he's really showed us a different side to the side we saw at the beginning of the season.
mm,
So my question is like he goes into this winning the FA Cup. Look, at the end of the day, people might say it's not as prestigious as it used to be, but the semi-finals were like
yeah, man.
of the top teams in England, the semi-finals. So my question is, this guy goes and does it, goes to this tournament playing like four of the best managers who were in there. Then we up against Lampard. Maybe it was unfortunate, but still, he wins it. What do we need to make Arteta reinvigorate or change our team to be able to finish top four and be able to close the
Yeah,
gap between City and Liverpool? Winning
yeah,
is a different story. We'll get there. But what
yeah.
does he need?
So
What do you think he needs from us
yeah,
as Arsenal?
yeah. So firstly, I don't buy this whole story that the FA Cup's not a big trophy. It's a
Thank
trophy.
you.
It's a big trophy, right? It's a trophy at the end of the day, and
Mm,
it goes in the record. But this is not like you winning the Audi Cup or those preseason tournaments that Tottenham and them celebrate winning. This is a trophy. It's a major trophy. Um, and for him to get something like that, I think it will buy him a lot of goodwill and a lot of time and a lot of belief in terms of the hierarchy. Now he can turn around to the hierarchy and say, look, I've won a trophy. You guys back me. I can do that. I can take this club places. It also another thing that it gets any other players, maybe that doubts his pedigree, that now they can turn around and say, hey, look, I've won a trophy. I had 6 months, I had a crap team, and I've basically turned this into magic. You know what I'm saying? So what he needs to then do now going forward, hopefully the club will back him. And I think what he just needs to work on is just working on the getting better quality players, getting more athletic players, getting that creativity back into the squad, which I think for me is going to be a lot easier than it will be sorting out the defensive personnel issues we have, because there's a lot of players that are going to be very difficult to move on at the back. So I can't see us being able to get rid of Socrates. I think he's indicated that he's going to stay and see out this contract, because they know that they're not going to get better money anywhere else, right? I doubt we'll be able to get rid of a Mustafi. Chambers has been injured, is injured, so you can't get rid of him. Holding, there's still question marks also about his fitness since he came back from he hasn't looked at his best since he came back from that knee injury. You know, Mauri is new. So obviously Saliba is new. David Luiz is staying on another season. Obviously, we all know that. So then you look at that and you ask, it doesn't really give Arteta a lot of room to add anyone else, because it's already quite bloated back there. So I doubt he'll be able to do, as much as we would love to see better quality defenders coming in, I honestly don't think that there's going to be much done from a transfer point of view at the back. I think his priority is going to be obviously keeping Aubameyang. And then if he's able to keep Aubameyang, and then I reckon he's probably going to target to get another two to three central midfielders. And by three, I mean that obviously gets a bias to start to sign on an extension, probably on extend his loan by another season. I reckon that's probably going to be the most realistic option for us. And then hopefully maybe get a creative player and a defensive midfielder as well in there, just to take the load off of Xhaka from a defensive point of view, because I think we can't go in, because at the moment you've pretty much got three midfielders, because Guendouzi is definitely, I think he's out the door. So next season he's probably going to only be going on with Torreira, Ceballos, and Xhaka. And for me, we cannot go through a full season of the Premier League with only those three in our midfield.
Yeah.
We'll get absolutely slaughtered. Because it will leave us if we pick up an injury or anything like that, we'll be very, very short. So I think you'll probably target at least two signings in the midfield, possibly three, including Ceballos. And I think that will be pretty much it. I don't think he's going to get any attack. If we keep Aubameyang, I don't think he's going to get any players in our front three, because already we've signed Saka. He's got Reece. He's got Reece there as well. He's got Martinelli coming back from injury. So I think we are well stocked up front, and there's a nice blend of youth and experience in there as well. So he's got a nice mix in those front three positions. It's just literally the guys behind them where he needs to, I think, focuses.
Do you think it's also maybe his quality kind of like, so we all thought we had a bad defense, but he actually showed that it's not that bad. You know what I mean? It just needs a bit more work or a bit more structure.
Nah, that defense is still shoddy though.
Or you just patched it and made it work, and now we need to solidify.
You must understand that this guy has had to change his system to cover up for how poor our defense is. He's literally had to add an extra body there just to cover from our defensive trails. And by defense, I don't mean just only the back two, but I mean the midfield in front of them, and also the wing backs, the left back and the right back. Because remember, our left back and right back do play quite up the pitch, and they do get caught out of position quite a lot as well. So I'm talking about that units of six, the two centre mids and the back four.
Oh yes.
And those guys defensively, they're not really they're not the greatest, to be quite honest, and they're not the most mobile either. So he's had to stick in another body there, just literally to cover up for that and sacrifice the numbers going forward, so that we can make sure that we don't leak goals every other minute at the back.
So you think he just made it work till the end of the
So I
season?
think he's with. So I think it's testament. I think, to be quite honest, we've seen the maximum that you can get out of this defense with the system that he's playing. They're not going to play any better, I reckon, than what we've seen right now. And the only way they can play better is by getting better personnel.
A back three is a very intense 90 minutes for the team, I feel. When you play a back three, it's a lot of work by other players that don't necessarily have to put in that kind of work. You know, because you short a man in your motion
in your midfield. Yeah. You short a man in your midfield, and then obviously you short a man going forward. Because if you look at the way how we attack, we literally right now attack with probably 3 players, only 4 at the most. With that, and by 4 I mean that when the wing backs join in, when one of the wing backs join in, then it's literally a 4 people that will be in and around the opposition box. So it will then limit our opportunities at goal. And that's not what we used to as also. We usually used to free flowing football, multiple shots at goal, keepers usually having worldies against us and pulling off 15 saves or whatever it is. But now we're not going to see that, just purely because of how we set up. We're not able to get those numbers into the box, into those advanced positions.
But do you think it allows our strikers to be more clinical? You know, when the opportunities.
So then, so the thing is that with that, it places a lot of strain on our strikers and a lot of pressure on them to be clinical. And thank goodness that they actually have been since the break. If you actually look at because we've barely created any chances. If you actually think, if you look back at the games we played, especially since we've come back from the Corona break. And for me, obviously, like with the guys firing now, we were able to get away with it, and the guys were able to pull us through. But then obviously the guys will have their off days. They will have an Aston Villa day, you know, and then when nothing comes together, and then and you end up losing to a rubbish side like that. So it's got its pros and cons, and luckily we've got the quality at the moment. But obviously there will be those days where we won't be able to skate by on our strikers being clinical.
No, that's true. But on to a lighter note, you know, how happy are you, man?
Hey, man, I'm over the moon. Even though, look,
as a kick
I was sure, just the relief, man. After all we've gone through this season, you know, just for you to be able to say, hey, we won a trophy, be it that it was the worst season we've had in 25 years. And please let this not paper over the cracks. It was still a shocking season for us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, at least we were able to hold the trophy. And for me, I think this was very important. I was just happy for the players, happy for my fellow fans, you know, the players for what they've gone through this season. A lot of the players have had horrid seasons. You look at Xhaka, he had a shocking season. He went through a lot this season. And his redemption story has been quite remarkable. You look at guys like David Luiz, they've had very shaky seasons. Lacazette had to fight very hard. It was probably his worst season in recent memory, I think, for him even. This has been a very, very tough season for a guy like Lacazette. I mean, just being displaced by a youth team player who was out on loan in the championship. You must really knock your pride as a player, and for him to be able to pick himself up and work hard and get the performances, put on the performances that he was able to put on. Guys like Mustafi,
do it without scoring goals, you know. I think that's
exactly
more crucial.
Yeah, and him actually now starting then, but now now you could actually see him also being able to get those goals and working hard and linking up with his players. Guys like Mustafi, the amount of criticism he's gone through, and just the ridicule he's gone through and everything else. Because as much as we like to not, say that players don't read the press and stuff, these players are on social media. They read a lot of the stuff that's going on. They see a lot of these memes, so it does affect them to a certain extent. So they are aware of these things that are going on, and it does play on their minds. So for me, a lot of these players, the stuff, the strife that they've had to go through, and them making it out on the other side. Guys like Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well, you know, where now he's turned almost into this go-to guy for the manager when he knows that he needs a guy to do a job in a big game. He's turning to Ainsley Maitland-Niles and say, "I know you can do a job," you know. And a few months ago, he was also looking like he might be out the door, like Guendouzi, where we were questioning his attitude, his commitment, etc. You know, and he's shown that he's willing to fight for his place and for the club. And maybe, look, at the end of the day, he might feel that he needs to move on, just purely because he might not get the amount of playing time he wants. But you know, he'll be leaving on a good note if he does leave.
Yeah.
You know, he would be leaving actually having proved his worth, sort of, at Arsenal. But he's leaving now just purely because he might not be able to get the amount of playing time that his ability deserves and that he needs at this point of his career. You know, so yeah, and obviously for us fans, I mean, we've been through a lot. The ridicule you go through, the stuff you see on social media, the stuff you see on groups, the stuff you hear the pundits say, it hurts. You know, I won't lie and say that. You know, for me, I mean, look, this club is in, you know, it's in my heart, and it hurts when you hear hearing the things that these guys say about the disrespect that we get shown now. You know, and it is quite satisfying at the end of the day when you can, you know, walk out at the end of the season with your head held up high, say, look, but we've got something. You know, at the end of the season, we walked away with a name on with our name on the trophy. You know, and yeah, that's nothing to scoff at. As much as these guys might try and downplay it and say that, oh, look, you didn't make top four. Top four is better. No, it's not. It's still it's a trophy, and we're in Europe. But for me, as much as
I know there's another debate there.
no. But I'm saying that for me, the bigger story for me is Arteta winning a trophy over us making Europe. For me, making Europe was the secondary story to our season. For me, winning this trophy was more important than the consequence of us getting into Europe. You know, by winning this trophy. You know, so basically, for me, basically, if they said that, if they said that you won't make it into Europa, but you win, you know, but you win the FA Cup, you know, type of thing. So like, if you didn't make it into Europa by winning the FA Cup, I still would have said, give me the FA Cup, you know, and you keep your Europa. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? So, because for me, at the end of the day, playing for these clubs, playing football, being a professional footballer is about lifting trophies. At the end of the day, you know, that's what it's about. That's what, and you could see how much it meant to the players today when they were celebrating, how much it meant to the coach. You know.
So that's sort of it's a coincidental day, meaning, well, it's your birthday first of all. It's Arteta's first. Well, like, firstly, he played in here, you won it after 10 years, then you're going through a rough, because that was a rough patch, that 10-year period. Go through another rough patch, he comes, we sign Pepe, we win our 14th with our number 14, you know what I mean? And then we win the same score line as the previous
the last time
final, you know, like 2-1. So it's really, and even with all the calls that went into, it was just set in stone that it was kind of going to be our day. But obviously you can't take it like that. And so, but answer the final question. I know you're happy and stuff, but just give me your kind of feeling for, picking up that trophy, man. You know what I mean? Like watching the boys look at it, pick it up. Because I remember Uno sent the link, and I was like, nah, just wait. Let us pick up the trophy. And I was even
let's pick up
the link now. I was like, just wait. You have to, like, this is the time. You just wipe the tears from our eyes, feel the passion. Yeah. So for me, it's one of the biggest things I always look forward to in a trophy. Of course, everyone does. But you know, the elation and what did you feel, and what does it mean for you, and obviously for us. But you know, with you sitting there, you know, we locked down. we got our beloved Brazen Head is not there, and you
Yeah,
look
and it was
around
such a
while you're at home to
yeah.
celebrate with somebody. So
Yeah, you don't even know what to do with yourself, man. So that was
so
that. And for
like
me, there
these
was
tears
almost that.
all of year was all over the
Yeah,
place because I've been
yeah,
walking around watching it.
yeah. And that's what I was thinking about when we were winning and stuff and living. It's like, I just like, imagine like what the atmosphere would have been like
Mm.
at the Brazen Head after a season like this. Us being there, having a beer, all as mates, celebrating with our fellow gunners. Because I mean, you guys were sharing videos of the last time we won against Chelsea there. So I was in
Okay.
some of the other groups I was on. Guys were playing us videos from that day, and I was like, sure, just the goosebumps I got from that. And yeah, it was. I was elated, but obviously, as I was saying, there was also just that, what if moment, like just that. I wish I was at Brazen Head to celebrate this with
Yeah.
my with my fellow Gunners. But yeah, hopefully, man, things will get back to normal, and then we'll be able to go back to these places and enjoy our football, and hopefully Arsenal will be able to make us happy again when we are at that establishment.
Maybe it was like they needed a
But
break
yeah,
from us and we needed a break from them.
yeah, we
Like,
needed a
in a
break.
relationship, we're like,
Yeah,
let's just take a little bit
yeah,
of time apart. We'll see each other again soon.
yeah.
And it did
Yeah,
happen.
man. But as I was saying, yeah, I was sure, man. Like, I was so happy. Like, even my mom gave me a call after the game. She's like, "Hey, I'm so happy your team won," and everything.
That's great.
I got calls from a lot of mates and stuff. So it was, yeah. I was over the moon,
Do
and
you think
now
this
literally
is
I'm still over the moon. I'm still buzzing. All I'm going to be doing until I pass out, I'll be just on videos of like fans
yeah,
talking
that's what I'm gonna
interviews
do
of
as well.
players. That's all I'm going to be doing
Do
until I
you
pass
feel
out
that this,
tonight.
sorry, last question, man, before we end
Yeah,
it. Do you feel like we've been through 21 finals, 14 trophies? The FA Cup is our tournament, but do you think this one here, as apart from the 10-year where we didn't take a trophy in 2014,
yeah.
but you think this year is probably one of the iconic
This
finals for us,
this
considering the
from
year
yeah,
we've had?
definitely. So for me, either besides the one we won after having not won a trophy for 10 years, I think this for me was the sweetest one.
Hmm.
Uh, Especially since after all we had gone through, and it is like a crossroads moment in the club, right? Where you could say you can probably hopefully we can use this as a springboard to launch ourselves forward and turn the corner. Because I mean, a lot of things, if we lost this final, probably a lot of things could go wrong after this. Some players might be a bit disillusioned with the club. They might be some players might be looking to move on and stuff. But now we've got something to actually say, hey, look, guys, believe in this project. We can build on something here. So and it creates that winning feeling and that winning mentality within the team, and also brings those guys because these players have been through a lot together, and it's a great thing for them to actually now seeing all their hard work finally paying off, and then being able to celebrate it together after being literally through the ringer as a team together, being through all these lows that they've gone through this season.
I think we all have, eh? I think we all
Yeah,
been at that brink of raging, breaking the TV, not supporting
yeah,
our team, coming back, loving our team. I think, and you know what was nice about this final? It was a final, in the terms of everything that a final is made up of. It
yeah.
had that, and I think that was even sweeter because it's been a while since we played, well, not really, we played Baku, but yeah, like I don't like, I try to mentally take,
Yeah, that nightmare of Baku, yo.
but you know what?
I
A guy
still
did
get, I still
mention it
wake up with a
was
cold sweat.
nobody can actually say they've ever had revenge on a team in a final again, where it's like a trophy
Yeah,
completely, where you're versing the person that knocked you out in that sense. And I think, it's, and I think that's a good takeaway from this while we ended off is last year we were like this, we couldn't finish the season off and we didn't close well. This year we
yeah,
didn't start well, our middle was shaky. But in the last 7 months, what we've seen is probably what we needed to see from the time Wenger left, and
yeah,
we needed something like that. Yes, it takes a bit of time to get there, but hopefully this is the right track. And I think that's all we really needed. And the biggest thing was it wasn't about getting points, winning the trophy. It was about getting our team back, wanting Aubameyang to play for his number, want Xhaka to redemption. Xhaka's redemption story is pretty much the epitome of our season. It was a really crap season, and then he comes back and shows everyone that he can actually play. And now he's scared to have a midfield without him. So
yeah,
we needed it, you know. And while we end it off, I just want to say thanks for all your views over the season, man. Like, this is actually episode 50, man. Episode 50.
Yeah, man, the big 5-0, man.
Yeah, with the trophy on your back.
Yeah, with the trophy.
A coincidence. You must go play lotto, yeah. You must go play lotto.
Hey, man, that's the only thing I forgot to do. Now that I think about it.
Today is the day, isn't there? Lots of draws today.
Yeah, it's already passed.
We appreciate everything, Nqoible. Thanks again. And, you know,
no, man,
winners, we have a trophy. And maybe I'll catch you on some after-season shows, but until the next one, you have a good one. Keep safe. Our local tactician, Nqoible. 2-1 victors at Wembley. We are FA Cup champions. There's nothing anyone can say, anyone can do. We got a trophy. We finished 8th, Tottenham finished 6th, but we have a trophy. They don't.
Yep.
Moral of the story.
And they have to go now play qualifiers for Europa.
And we in. You know, I call it.
We're going straight to the group stages.
You remember when Mourinho finished like 6th and then he won the Europa League and he got into Champions League. So we kind of did the same thing, but on the Europa front, you know. And we're happy. Any last words, man, on you, how you felt about the season, Arteta, anything?
Hey, man. I think obviously we've won the trophy now, but I think now the real hard work begins in terms of this transfer window. We need to make the right moves. We need to back the manager. We need to get the right personnel in. And hopefully the guys will do the right thing and address the issues we have, and hopefully put us in a position to be able to push for top 4. Because I think that's for me the next target. The target for next season is to try and get into top 4. And for us to do that, I think we need some personnel in there to shore up our quality, because we're lacking in a lot of areas quality-wise.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing us back to reality there.
But hey, man, it is what it is. I'm enjoying the next 6 weeks. You know, Cup champions of England. You know,
and
only one.
And maybe I'll get you on when we buy some players and we can chat about what effect.
Yeah, we can chat about it. Yeah.
You know, but Nqoible, have a good one. Thanks for everything. Gunacast SA, we out. FA Cup champions, don't forget.